So welcome. This is Barrier Breakers
Barrier
featuring,
Breakers.
Barrier Breakers.
That's right.
Tales of Triumph after trauma. We left that part off.
We let that part off on purpose.
On purpose, right?
Yeah.
No negative connotations.
Nobody wants to be reminded of that.
No reminders. My name is Britany B.
My name is Gentry.
Gentry. So our very first episode.
Very first one. It's exciting.
It is. I'm
It is.
sweating. We have a lot of good stuff to talk about. I guess first let's start with why we're doing this.
Why are we doing this? I guess that would be you asked me, so that would be your.
I'll be the one answering the
That'd
question.
be you answering that one.
Yeah. So everyone that knows me know, last year especially, I went through a lot of trauma, a lot of shock to the system. I am recently a breast cancer survivor.
Yeah.
Was diagnosed when my son was just 6 months old, right? Complete shock.
Whew, takes my breath.
And, aside from that, I've had to overcome a lot of crazy stuff to get to where I am. So now I am proud to say that I am a mother to a wonderful baby boy. I am a wife. My husband serves in our Air Force, the greatest Air Force in the world.
Yep.
And I'm a business owner.
That's right.
Yeah. So just overcoming a lot of stuff. And I think that I am not alone. I'm not special in that.
Yeah.
A lot of people here that we know and love, right? They have their own battles that they fight.
I think it's kind of. I was thinking about this on the way up here today. I think it's kind of just you never know someone's story, right?
Yeah.
Like we all just assume that we are that we're isolated and we have to live in this place by ourselves, and no one would understand what we're going through, and no one would could comprehend. And then it's like you listen to conversation. Like if you actually intentionally get to know someone, then you're like, I guess, and the walls come down, the barriers, come down, so to speak, and then you really get to know, and that's what that's one thing that has kind of intrigued me about. When you called, we're like, hey, I'm going to doing a podcast and I need a co-host. I was like, all right. You're like, have you ever been through anything hard? And I was like, are you sitting up or standing down? Are you sitting down or standing up?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of.
I think I sat down at that moment. I was like, okay, here we go.
Here we go. I'm like, how much time do you have? Because, yeah. So anyways, I think just introductory, just why we're doing this is there's stories that need to be told.
Absolutely.
And the bravest individuals are the ones who are not afraid of what they've been through. But like I said, they're not afraid of what they've been through. However, they're not, I can't find the words, of course. I think it's more of not afraid to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
What they, I guess, the contributing factors, the factors that contribute to the place that they're in, they don't let them determine where, case in point, you, contributing factor, breast cancer, contributing factor. There's generational things.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
I said we'll save that, but I'm just saying, there's so many contributing factors that we could just let, stifle us.
Absolutely.
And there would be valid reasons for it, right? There is validity that could be construed or used to support complacency.
Yes, absolutely.
Or hermitage. You know what I'm saying? Just withdraw. All I need is me and this little house, and as long as the rain does it, someone comes and takes it, I'm gonna kill someone and get their house. There's validity behind it, but I think it's there's beauty in the vulnerability.
Absolutely. What I love is, a lot of people that go through stuff, unfortunately, we've seen it day in and day out, it can be detrimental to them.
Sure.
Suicide, depression, life-altering, and they just can't break through that barrier. Yeah. And so what I love about this podcast that we're doing is that we will be celebrating those everyday heroes.
Yeah.
They don't wear capes. They're not very boisterous about it. And yet they remain cognizant of the why for why they're doing what they're doing every single day.
I was thinking about this, like heroes, like we define heroes as someone who's extraordinary, but it's only extraordinary in someone, and like it's only extraordinary in the narrative of someone else's mind.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So it's like Superman is extraordinary, but we use that and we misidentify, like we miss the opportunity to identify a hero because of because he's not an alien with superpowers from
Yeah.
the sun.
And
You know what
because he's
I'm
not impacting a whole world of people, right?
Yeah.
Instead, the everyday heroes are the folks who they overcome their shit, right? To
That's
put
right.
their friends and family and those around them in
Yeah.
a better position. Even themselves,
In
they can
spite of
pick themselves.
in spite of themselves.
Yes, in spite of themselves. Absolutely. So this is what this podcast will be all about.
Yep.
Talking to the everyday Jane Does,
Yep.
John Does.
John Doe's.
Yeah, about what they've had to overcome to get to where they are. And I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and using their why. Like using their why. And I think that the deeper the why, like the more the connection. And I'm an emotional person. Like it's not a secret.
Yeah, it's not. You legit cried last week, and I was like, "He's gonna make me cry." I put on these eyelashes. I'm not ready for this.
But I think it's like you get to the point where you have nothing left.
Yes.
Right? Like you get to the point where you have nothing left. I completely forgot what I was going to say.
You're an emotional person.
Yeah, I'm an emotional person, but I was thinking like it's the abilities to not stay where you're at, and I think it's like celebrating people who are people, right?
Yeah.
And they have every reason not to, but in spite of themselves they do it anyways. And so that's kind of the I veered off. I completely drew a blank, but hopefully
You'll
it'll
get
come
it back.
Hopefully it'll
You'll
come
get it
back
back.
to me.
Let's go back to what you said about, heroes are kind of historically categorized as those that are extraordinary human beings. And yet we are all special in our unique ways. I was telling a friend recently, I absolutely cringe sometimes when people bring up, "You're so strong, you did X, Y, and Z." And I'm like, Patricia, what was the option? Like, either I fought or I succumbed to this. There was literally no option when I looked around and saw the faces of my why, right?
Sure.
My son, my husband, my family members, my team here. I just opened up a business. So literally when your back is up against a wall, sometimes it's like, do you just cave into that wall and become one with it? Or do you find a way to break through it and break past it and surpass everything meant to tear you down?
Yeah, I think it's more of, that's what I was saying. Like, I got it back. And it's like, no, people are, I think we've missed a big opportunity in the last 5 years, maybe probably be even more, but it's like we've missed an opportunity for connection, right? And I was saying people are pining for connection. Like they are pining so much to be seen and to be heard that there's a, platform I won't mention.
Yeah.
But it's a platform and people are literally paying millions of dollars a month, millions of dollars a year, billions of dollars a year for connection. Like they're paying for someone to notice them or for someone to interact with them because we've completely unprioritized relationships.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about marriage. I'm just talking about friendships. I was telling my best friend a couple weeks ago, I was like, and I was telling you last week too, it's the strongest bonds are formed in times of war.
Yeah.
If the people who get back from war and that they've been through things together, they're the ones who are who is he? Where? Who do we need to take out?
Yeah. We riding out at dawn.
We're riding out at it's like it was the Amazon guy. He lost a package, so we're not gonna take out his legs. If he can't walk, he can't run. But we're not gonna play that. But I think we've missed the opportunity, and the world is pining for connection. And the only way to connect with people is to listen.
I was gonna say just shut up.
To listen to their stories. Why are we afraid of silence?
Absolutely. I love what you said about people that have gone to war together, and that's when they build strong bonds.
Yeah.
I've always, my husband's so funny. He can make friends with a wall, literally, right? So when he would go on deployments, those guys that was there with him, he would come back. They've been on trips together. We've been to weddings. I'm like, who is this person? We don't know a soul here with a guy, or getting married. And it's absolutely right. The people that share some commonality with you,
Yeah.
that you've been through the same thing, you share the same experiences, and yet, right, in spite of.
And I think that's the one thing though. It's like commonalities. Like we don't know how much we have in common unless we're willing to like step out and like share our stories.
Yes.
And step out and share like it. Like there's someone somewhere wanting to know. Like someone somewhere, and this makes me emotional.
It's okay, let it out. They'll see a lot of this.
Oh, for sure. But it's like someone somewhere is like dying for what you have.
Yeah.
Or like wanting like so bad, grasping at anything to know that it's gonna be okay. And I think the beauty in it it's like we're doing the world a disservice if we don't get out of our comfort zones and share our stories.
Absolutely. What the world has done a great job of, I think, like you said, the past 5 years is trying to divide us and have us not look past these facades of, oh, Gentry's this white guy. I have nothing in common with him. I'm this black woman from Memphis. I talk a certain way. I look a certain. There's no commonalities there.
Sure.
And the first moment I met you, we were in a meeting. I heard you talk. I was like, okay, there's something beneath this. He talks this way because he's gone through something. And I immediately recognized that within you without even knowing your story.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I know.
We'll unpack that box.
Yeah, we'll unpack
that luggage at a different.
It'll be fun.
It's still on the plane.
It'll be fun. But I love that we're doing this because we're featuring folks from all walks of life, right? And unfortunately, like you said, the different platforms have allowed us to. I'm only going to consume media from this channel or follow these people, but I'm like, not here at Barrier Breakers. We're interviewing folks from all different walks of life, all beliefs.
Yes.
And just asking them to tell their stories.
Yeah, and it's the people that are going to be willing to learn. Like if I wasn't willing to learn about my wife or like her story or what she likes, like I would be doing her a disservice because I could never fulfill those needs.
Absolutely.
Like, or I could never, I guess I could never like affirm. And I couldn't do that if I wasn't willing to listen. Someone said, I was a teacher of mine a couple years ago. He said, I don't love my wife the way I want to be loved. I love my wife the way she wants to be loved. If my wife hates Taco Bell, like if she can't stand it, like and I go out and I buy her a nice dress, like, and I buy her some pearls and I buy her like some nice heels, not too high because the older you get, the shorter the heels.
Oh yeah, they've gotten shorter for me.
But
and a little bit thicker on the heel.
Yeah. So it's like if I do all this and I surprise her and she comes home and I was like, get ready, we're going to dinner, and like she gets in the car and I look at her and I don't say a word and I just drive her to Taco Bell because it's what I wanted. Like, that's not loving her the way that she wants to be loved. Even though I did the things practically that made her feel beautiful. Like, if I take her somewhere that I know she hates, what service? Like, what good is that going to do, right?
Yeah, because you didn't hit the feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like I did. Well, I had the knowledge and I didn't execute. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and a lot of times we don't have that knowledge. There's a big thing now where people like triggered and different things trigger people.
Canceled.
Yeah, and you get canceled like, oh my gosh.
I get canceled in my circles for crying a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, is he still on that thing?
That was 5 minutes ago. Why are you still?
Yeah.
But I think that really does us all a disservice. I mean, we cancel people so easily without understanding their why. Right? We all have life experiences that predetermine how we react in situations. And
Sure.
life is we're always growing. I hope we're always evolving.
Sure.
And so, just counseling someone without understanding why they did something a way that was different from the way you would have handled the situation.
Yeah.
I have very tough conversations in my line of work daily. And,
Same.
having a team,
Yeah.
and they're all very diverse. So the way I talk and interact with them all is so different.
Yeah.
I may text one person and know I have to pick up the phone because someone's an angry text reader, right? So just breaking through that barrier, that language barrier, overcoming how their brains were formed because of how they were raised.
Sure.
It's just a process.
Yep.
And so I try to do my best not to just cancel out people without having some sort of understanding, without coming from a place of understanding first, seeking why.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like canceling, like it really just shows like a lack of maturity,
Mm-hmm.
because you're literally unwilling
Yeah.
to listen to the like what happened, like to listen to what happened that made them react a certain way or respond a certain way or withdraw a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's like, and I think as a whole, like humans as a whole, like are doing a horrible job connecting.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the industry that we work in, like you're a real estate agent
Mm-hmm.
or a realtor. I don't want to say that wrong. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm in the lending space. So yeah.
You see behind the curtains of it. Well, I just get the reactionary parts and I'm like, why are they? And then I'm like, okay, take me out of the equation.
Sure. Yeah. So it's like in that line of work, it's like if you don't get to know like why, like people are going, like if you, like I've learned that if I treat people like people,
Mm-hmm.
I get to work with more people. If I treat people like numbers, I get to work with more numbers.
Yes. I love that.
And numbers aren't the same as people.
Mm-hmm.
And people aren't the same as numbers.
Yeah. This will be a show celebrating people.
People
People.
from all walks of life, like I said, in spite of themselves, they didn't let the contributing factors be their determining factors. They didn't listen to negativity or entertain like all the reasons they couldn't. They just were, I guess, laser focused.
Tunnel vision.
They had tunnel vision.
Yeah.
They're laser focused on like why they could not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah, I know since I've been on my journey now, and we try not to give too much away because those for episodes 2 and 3 when you learn more about Britany B and Gentry here. And yet I have encountered so many people that just are thrivers in spite of what they're facing. And what I love so much about it is humility.
Yeah.
They're usually the most humble,
Sure.
unassuming people.
Yeah.
I have a saying that I've been saying, since my first job after college. My first boss told me this. He said, B, it's a very country accent. He's from Powell, Tennessee. He said, B, you never let your highs get too high or your lows get too low.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I mean, I say that all the time because I have days where I'm in pain or I'm struggling and I'm like, you know what? If I choose to lay here and succumb to the pain, I'm saying trick-or-treating for one. I felt like crap that day. But my son, it was his first time being able to trick-or-treat. And I'm like, all right, snap out of this.
Yeah.
We're going. And then I'm also going to ride 11 miles on my Peloton afterwards,
Yeah.
Just those small victories and realizing that there's someone else out there that also has small victories like that make a difference. Granted, my son won't remember this, but he'll have the photos, right?
Yeah. The memories are being made for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because FOMO last year,
Yeah.
real.
Mm-hmm.
Like as real as it gets.
Yeah.
Like it's real for me and I wasn't even there.
Mhm.
That's how real it gets.
Yeah.
And so it's like cherishing those moments. And I think I recently lost my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I went through a lot of loss, but I recently lost my dad. He was 60 years old. I found him on Christmas Eve 2020. And very, very prominent figure, very active in my life. But it kind of got me like think like, what's it all for? Right?
Yeah.
Like, what's it all for? And I was really, really having a hard time. I have 2 boys, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And I'm married to the most gorgeous woman I've ever seen. Still, I just celebrated 9 years in September. More on that later. But so, but the really thing is like I was having a really hard time. Really going through counseling, and I was like, I just had a hard time because on my phone, like I called him.
Yeah.
Like I didn't text him. And when I was with him, I didn't get to see him very often. And so like I didn't take pictures with him. I lived in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came time to look back on all the memories, I didn't have any.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have any. And like, so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I get it.
So I really relegated into the fact that it's like I let that like a negative belief like rise up, and it's just like I didn't do this like out of whatever reason that I didn't do it. It's like maybe I didn't love him enough, or maybe I didn't value him enough. And it was like, and I had to be like that's what my counselor was basically like
Mm-hmm.
Is this what you're feeling? I was like, no. Like, no, Linda, no. But it's like, it's the things like that. Like I didn't have, like I lived in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have those memories. And so, but that wasn't a reflection, and I was feeling really, really upset about it. And then one day, I don't know if my wife sent it to me or if we were watching something together or something, but I saw an interview with Andrew Garfield, and he lost his mom. And he says, I don't mind grieving. He's like, and I don't mind crying. He's like, because grief, he said, is grief is all the love that we feel for a person that we never got to express when they were here. And that healed something inside of me. Mm-hmm. Because I was just like a basket. Like I was just like the flashbacks were real, like the reenactments were real, like it was not good. But that like healed something inside of me to know that like, one, I'm not the only person who lost a parent. I completely get that.
Yes.
I'm not like singling myself out and like no one has like this, but it's like on the same point, it's like I'm not going to let someone who doesn't understand or who doesn't want to understand, who doesn't want to sit with me in sackcloth and ashes, like who does, like that was the one thing like that was told pastor. I was like, I'm just so glad that Ecclesiastes says there's a day, like there is not there's a time and a season and not a day and an hour, because if I had to put a time frame around like healing, I don't know if I could get there.
Yeah, I hear that. You know, I lost my mom tragically in 2019. Well, I wasn't the one that found her. Some friends of mine did that worked for the Memphis Fire Department.
Sure.
And I will never forget the moment my baby sister called me. I was leaving a home inspection of all things, and I always remember the location. We'll never go back there on that road. She called me and she didn't say any words, right? Just screaming. I knew why she was screaming. There were no words needed. I knew my mom was gone at that moment.
Yeah.
And like you, unfortunately, I didn't have any photos with her. It used to. I'm always the first. You know, I'm the director. I'm the get here, smile pretty, right? I'm never in hardly any photos of my husband.
Every
my
day
son
I'm
now.
like, how do you remember to take so many photos of yourself? I don't even like the way I look that much.
You know, I do that because unfortunately, when we were taken away from my mom, we lost everything. She used to. I remember. She had the old school camcorder, right? She recorded everything, and so unfortunately, we don't have any of those memories. I used to joke with my middle sister, like, you're adopted, haha, we don't have any photos of you. I have one photo of me as a baby.
Real,
it is
the
real.
second child thing is so real. Like, there's a thing going on TikTok right now. It's like the first kid gets to be the Wi-Fi password kid.
Yeah.
And then the second one, he's just there.
Yeah, sorry, kid.
Yeah.
But we didn't have any photos, and this was actually my my now husband, we were just dating when he met my mom. We went home 2 weeks earlier than we intended to. We were supposed to go home Labor Day weekend, and she passed away August 29th, which of course before Labor Day, right?
Yeah.
And for some reason, I can't even put my finger around it, why we went home 2 weeks earlier instead. It was a God thing. It truly was.
Sure.
So when we went home, I was looking through my aunt's photo album. I was raised by my aunt, and I saw a photo of me and my mom that I never realized was there. I didn't know was taken, and it was me standing over her, my aunt's wedding, smiling, looking down on her. Sorry, she had a smile on her face, and I immediately took a photo of that photo.
Sure.
And I saved it. And 2 weeks later now, my mom is gone. So I take photos because I don't have any.
Yeah.
I don't have any of those happy memories. We didn't grow up. My husband and I grew up very differently. His family, his mom, I love her. My mother-in-law is like one of my favorite people. She has photo albums of both of her sons. He's the second son. Both of them from the moment they
Props to
were
you.
born. Yeah, up
Props
until
to
they
you.
were like 12.
Yeah.
Yearly photo books. And we have them at home now. And so it's so fun to look back on those. And
Yeah.
he's telling me, oh, we were living in San Viejo here. We were in Minnesota. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
There's such intentionality put behind preserving those memories.
For sure.
Because now we get to look at, oh, MJ looks so much like you or so much like, my brother-in-law. And I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So just to set the record straight, we have two, but my wife has we have 30,000 pictures. I think we have a picture of our kid every single day.
Yeah.
That we're with them.
But you didn't have that.
But I didn't have that.
Yes.
And my dad was always the one behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
He was always the one recording the memories.
Yeah.
And so he didn't get to be in a lot of them. And there's I think there's 2 or 3 videos that I have that he was a very accomplished musician. He was like a child prodigy.
Yeah.
And there's 3 videos that I have, and spontaneously, I think it was in 2013. It was 2013. I had went to Branson for Christmas, and that was the last time that I had been with him for Christmas since from that until I found him. So that was it was insult to injury, right?
Yeah.
It was I had been home for 9 years, and then I'm going home for Christmas. I'm gonna have Christmas with my family, and then it was just that was just not unexpected, unwanted, uncalled for.
Yeah.
But
So we share that in common, right? Grieving, the loss of our parents.
Yeah.
I actually I went home for the year. It was a year later. I went home to see my mother, visit her, her graveside, and I get a call. I actually had just told my then fiance, I said, I ought to call my grandmother. I've already lost a parent. I should try to reconnect with my father.
Yep.
I shit you not. Literally, my grandmother's calling me, and I'm like, she never calls. Michael's dead, and I'm like, excuse me? The weekend I'm there to visit my mom, a year apart later, my father died. The craziest thing. So I'm just looking back these last 4 or 5 years, bro, no wonder cancer had a place to grow in me.
Oh.
It was just so much grief, just so much, right?
Yeah. And but even that, the fact that you are where you are and you do what you do, it's that much more powerful, and it impacts that many more hearts and changes that many more people.
But I always stand by, I'm not special. I
Sure.
1,000% believe that we were all given talents, and hey, you and I we were both Christians, right?
Yeah.
And yet I do love and respect everyone because we all have different beliefs based on the way that we were raised.
Correct.
And yet my belief is that we were all born with a talent inside of us. And so what makes me special is what makes Britany special.
Yeah.
No one can take that from Britany. The same way with Gentry,
Yeah.
and the same way with everyone else we'll be talking to on this podcast. And just like our listeners, we all have something to share and make this world a brighter place.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah. So barrier breakers will be just tales of triumph,
Tales of triumph.
celebrations and victory.
Yeah. Not letting, not letting the past determine the future, right?
Absolutely. Using the past as
It's fuel.
and being inspired by the future that you can't see.
That's one thing I want to surround myself. That's one thing I love about my wife is I told her we just need to surround ourselves with people who pour water on our fears and gasoline on our dreams. And so that's why I'm here.
Yeah. I'm happy I thought enough of you in our first few encounters to be like, there is something more to this man, and he would be great. And not just because I knew that there was something underneath that too, but the other thing of the dichotomy between the both of us. So, like I said, there is barriers to break down with, oh, I won't relate to him because he's this white man and I'm clearly this black woman, right? So I think it's very important just to be like, we're all different. Let's celebrate those differences and find what we have in common.
Yep. Find the commonalities.
Yeah.
Gary Smalley was a late author and speaker, and his wife, Norma Smalley, she says there's a pearl in every pile of crap. You gotta have the tenacity to dig and find it, right?
Yes. Absolutely love it. Well, I guess we'll be breaking down more about Britany and Gentry in our next couple episodes, and then we're going to hop into interviewing some local heroes we have.
Yes. So if you are local, you're a hero.
Yes.
Even in your own mind. And you want to share your story, we would love to interview you. We'd love to talk with you, and we look forward to learning who you are and what makes you powerful.
Absolutely. This is a safe space. I would say that we both in our line of works in our lives have to be very careful with judging people.
Yep.
And so it's really important to understand the why. Who are you? What is your special gift to the world?
Yep.
What are you setting out to accomplish?
Yeah.
And we talk about this often because this podcast, getting this together, was delayed by like a week and a half because delays from good old delivery services.
Shipping people will lose your lights. Just
losing your lights. The carpet coming is too small. Having to paint a wall because the backdrop was not good. I mean, we have great intentions and we constantly got met with friction. And I think that is so true for the purpose of this podcast.
But we pushed through.
And
here we are. And I think it looks beautiful.
It does. It looks great. Great. So we are excited to celebrate the everyday heroes, not only here locally in East Tennessee. We are based in Knoxville, but just around the world.
Around the world.
Yeah. This is Barrier Breakers. We'll see you guys again soon.
Until next time.